Hey guys, this video is about why you need to be aware of the potential fallout of having your dog too close to you too often, or in some cases all the time. So a funny thing happened this last year when so many people were no longer going into their office every day. They were working from home, or they weren't working at all. And a lot of people went out and got dogs for companionship, or they just began spending obviously a tremendous amount of time with their dogs because they weren't taking their kids to school, they weren't going to work, so on and so forth. So all good, right? Except there was a pretty big fallout as a result of that, which is now coming to light because people are going back to work. So here's how this whole thing works is what happens when a dog is allowed to be up against you all the time, either at your feet, actually leaning on your feet, sitting on your feet, staying so close to you that there just really is no space, it's just constant proximity, then what happens is the dog begins to claim you as his own. Happens all the time. And there's all kinds of things that can fall out from that. The main thing being separation anxiety, which is huge. As a trainer, I'm very aware that many cases have come in over the last several months of people that are having a lot of problems because they're now going back to work and their dogs are becoming destructive. They're crying, they're barking, they're doing all these things because they're not used to being left alone. Another potential problem that happens a lot is that dogs are becoming reactive and overprotective because they're used to claiming their owners all the time. So most people aren't aware of this, which is the case for almost everything that your dog does that is an unwanted behavior, is no one deliberately sets their dog up to fail. But what happens is they don't understand. They actually sometimes secretly sort of welcome the fact that their dog wants to touch them and be next to them all the time. And what they look at it, the way they look at it is that the dog is incredibly devoted to them. They enjoy the company themselves, and so they look at it from that perspective. But in reality, if a dog can be up against you all the time, then they own you. If they own you, they have every right to be overprotective when somebody comes towards you because they're protecting what they own. Very common. So you can definitely undo this. Sometimes it's obviously easier to not allow this to happen in the first place than to try to undo it once it's gotten started, but it can be done, and that's what I'm doing a lot of, as well as other trainers are doing a lot of right now. You want to ask for more space. That's one of the main things that you want to do. In particular, if you're up on a piece of furniture and you allow your dog up there and to be leaning up against you or laying their head on your lap, I know I'm the fun killer, right? But unfortunately, that is going to send the wrong message to your dog. So your dog can still be social with you, can still be in the room with you, the same way that if I were to come over to your house, we would be very social, but we probably would not be sitting up against each other. I would have my chair, you would have yours. So they can still be in the same vicinity, in the same room. That's considered a social activity, but they can't, if they are up against you all the time, you're going to have a problem. The other thing that can also happen is that if you have two dogs or a cat, or it can even happen with a child or a person, is that if the dog feels that they own you while you're on a piece of furniture together, a sofa or a chair or a bed, then if somebody comes towards you, then that can be considered an intruder going from the dog's perspective, and so that can be a bite or a growl, or lots of things can fall out from that. So you want to ask your dog to be with you but not on top of you. So find a place where they can go, either a place board or a bed or something where they can be near you but not right up on top of you. And then you want to start practicing being away from your dog for short periods of time in the beginning, and then you can extend those periods of time to lengthier time. So if you're going back to work suddenly, I wouldn't recommend that you just crate your dog all of a sudden and then leave and hope it goes well, because you might have, your dog can try to break out, can break a canine, trying to open up the gate. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. So what you want to do if you're new to crate training, and you will thank me for this later, because crate training is just a tremendously wonderful thing for you to teach your dog to be good with. But what you can do is just go with small increments of time. So while you're home, crate your dog up for 10 minutes at a time, 15 minutes of a time, period of time. Put him in there when you're making dinner or when you've got something to do, and then just add to that time from 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then try leaving and being gone for like 30 minutes. Some dogs will take to it right away and won't have any issue with it at all. Others need to kind of acclimate to being in a small space, but ultimately, in my experience, almost every dog I've ever taught to train up to go to a crate has absolutely ended up loving it. My clients are always shocked because usually they say, oh, you'll never get my dog in a crate. But I do, and then the dog ends up loving it. So creating space like that, just giving your dog his own designated area where he can chill out, his own little private den, that's a really good thing to do. Another thing that can happen too, another reason that you want to crate train is because if your dog ever has to go to the vet, your dog is going to have to be kenneled either in a run or one of the crates that the vet has, the built-in ones. And believe me, there's many times that vets have to call clients and say, you need to come and get your dog because we can't have him here. He's trying to break out of the crate or he's barking excessively. So that's another good reason to teach your dog how to crate up. So that's primarily the message I wanted to give you, is just you're going to set yourself up and your dog to succeed if you create some space, because that's just not going to last forever. This constant proximity is not going to be something that any of us are going to do on a long-term basis. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you guys have a great weekend. If you're interested in any of my training, I've got tons of workshops that I do every year. I have some already scheduled for November. The Train the Trainers are both sold out for this year, the rest of the year, but I do have one in January. But if you want to be updated with all my different programs and different things that I'm doing, it's going to be a really cool summer. But go to the link in my bio and click on, click on the link in my bio. I have a Linktree thing there, and the very first one is updates. You can click on that, and then you can sign up for notifications about the different things that I'm doing. I've got some really cool stuff going on. We're going to teach my protege, Betsy, and I are going to be going on the road this summer. We're going to be teaching a workshop in Knoxville and one in Frisco, which is right outside of Dallas. We're super excited about that. This is actually the first time I've announced it, so there will be more announcements about that, but we're super stoked about that. We're excited about a road trip, and we're going to be taking Stella and Opie with us. So, you know Stella, there's probably people that are going to come to the workshops just to meet Stella. So if you're interested in any of my programs, please just sign up on that little update page, and we will notify you when we have more information or the ability to sign up. Okay? Have a great weekend, you guys. Love you. See you. Bye.